Welcome to Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet that wishes Michael Bay would just leave the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles alone. I'm your host, Rob.
And I'm your host, Chad, and today we're talking about Pain and Gain, which is Michael Bay's new film.
And on Thursday, we're going to be giving our review of a couple of Amazon pilots, Alpha House and the new Zombieland TV show.
As always, you can check us out over at Twitter at Epic Geek Out. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/epicgeekout, and also check out the website, www.epicgeekout.com. But let's get into our review of Pain and Gain. So Pain and Gain was directed by Michael Bay. It stars Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it is the unfortunate true story of a couple of guys who worked in a gym that decided that they wanted to live the American dream, and by doing that, they were going to kidnap this guy and pretty much just extort him out of all of his money. And it is the story. This happened in the 90s in the Miami area, and it is Michael Bay's version of the events that happened. So, Chad, what did you think of Pain and Gain?
Terrible. Yeah, I mean, it didn't look good at all. So, really dreading it going into it.
And let me say one thing. You know, the previews for it, they make it seem like it's an action movie, wouldn't you say? Whereas this is definitely in like the dark comedy action kind of vein. Yeah. Whereas, you know, it's a very dark movie, and
it's Bad Boys, but it's dark. I mean, if you like the comedy action combination in Bad Boys, it's a lot of that. I mean, less action than like Bad Boys, but more dark comedy. Yeah, I mean, no one's likable in the whole movie at all. I mean, Ed Harris comes in towards the end, and he is pretty much the only likable guy. I mean, the criminals are bad. Like, no, it's just there's no one to get behind, and there's some humor throughout that is, you know, made you chuckle a little bit. But all in all, just, I mean, it's a movie about like meathead jocks, you know, like
on the planet.
I mean, there's nothing about it that is in anything that I enjoy or like. So overall, you know what I mean? Like overall, I was just, you know, they're not even smart criminals. So like if it was a smart heist or something that they did, like that would at least be enjoyable there. But they're just stupid and, you know, just over the top, ridiculous stuff that they do. The Rock did a good job in his part. It was different than what he normally plays. More of a kind of loose cannon, like funny guy, which was cool. I liked seeing that.
Well, funny because he was high on drugs and couldn't get hold of himself
but
back.
Even like before that, like, he's like a Jesus freak.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it was just, that was enjoyable, but really that's the only little bit to that I took away from it. And that's not enough to save it by any means. I mean, it was like shot very. It was very indulgent in the way that he shot it.
Reminded me of like Man on Fire.
Yeah, there was some like slow-mo moments, like for no reason, like Michael Bay style.
You want to talk about the voiceover?
Yeah, there was like pretty much 90% of everything's voiceovered. You know, every time they introduce a new character, you get the whole backstory by voiceover, which is weird. You know, it was a choice he made, whatever. But then you got the scenes of like his Victoria's Secret commercial where basically it's just like flashy colors over top of models and ridiculous over the top stuff. But yeah, I mean, and the thing that I really took away from it by the end was like, this is an awful story. Like this actually happened, and they make a joke about that this is still real, you know. But it was just such a loathsome tale, and they make light of it in a way that's just, I don't know. It just seems,
it doesn't sit right.
It didn't sit right with me, and I know what he was going for, but you know, granted they're criminals, but when they kind of make a joke at the end that they get put on death row, I don't know. You know, just for me, it didn't sit right, and I guess just it didn't earn any of that. So for me, I definitely would not recommend it, but maybe there's somebody out there that would like this. I'm not quite sure who would be there.
Yeah, so I didn't hate it nearly as much as you. I had no desire to see this movie, and you know, we joked, or do we really have to see this? We kind of looked to see if there were other movies this weekend that we could have reviewed instead, and you know, we decided let's give it a shot.
Stick it out.
A lot of you know, with this having a show, you kind of have to see the bad movies too. So I didn't know what to truly expect going into it, and it wasn't great, but it certainly was better than the previews led you to believe. It is definitely, like I said before, it's a dark comedy. I mean, everything you said about, not being able to root for any characters, that's all so true, but it's more of a character study of these people who don't seem real, but then you remember that, oh, they are. And I'd love to know, kind of who, what liberties were taken, because I'm sure it was for a movie, because it did stretch out to a longer, it's a long period of time where they were, committing these acts of violence and whatnot, but they condensed it to 2 hours. So it was interesting to see how ridiculous these people could be and think that they were doing the right thing. And though they did try to have some funny moments, the comedy didn't work at all. I mean, our theater was, I'd say, about a third full towards the end, something like that, and no one laughed at all, really, at the moments even that were like supposed to be funny. Yeah. So I think that it wasn't successful on that point, but it wasn't as bad as I expected. I mean, a heavy use of voiceover, which I did think somewhat worked, though since most of it was in voiceover, it got sort of tedious towards the middle. It's over 2 hours long, so it definitely hit points where it felt long, and again, it is hard for a movie to be that long and for you to really have no rooting interest in these people to do anything. I think the acting, though, I think The Rock did good. I think across the board, people were good. I think Tony Shalhoub as the loathsome victim, good, yeah. And I think it's a good point that not all victims are the nicest people in the world, and even Ed Harris's character said, it makes it hard to root for you, kind of thing, and so it's not great. It is interesting to see Michael Bay work on a movie that is a lower budget and it isn't, having explosions every now and then. So it is interesting, to see the camera work difference from this and then like a Transformer movies. But yeah, I mean, it's...
I liken like his filmmaking to Saints Row, the video game, because it's very very much like fetish stuff that's in it. Like I was even reading like there's a lot of like homophobic stuff in here that obviously didn't happen in real life. All the like sex toy part of this did not happen in real life. Yeah, and there's just like some weird choices he makes that are like he does it to get a reaction and like just make it crazy over the top and like ridiculous.
Yeah, there are choices that are made that, like you said, they don't carry the story along. They don't progress any characters. They're just made to kind of be ridiculous. And he definitely loves the whole Miami area. He's a part-time resident himself. So yeah, that's Pain and Gain.
I didn't really feel like it. Like, I think what they could have done with the Miami portion of it is, like in a lot of films we've seen recently, make Miami a character in it, and I don't feel like that was the case. A lot of locales there felt very generic to me.
They did.
And I mean, they do the like sweeping shots like the Miami beach like skyline every now and again, but overall, like, it was pretty...
Yeah, yeah, it was. It did have a kind of 90s feel to it, though. I think that they did kind of capture that somewhat well. Like, a scan was pulled earlier on in the movie in like a flashback scene, and he has a cell phone that's, huge. And like, and just some other things. But, it did certainly... I don't know.
But even that felt totally a lot of place, like the big cell phone coming out. Yeah, it's like, it's just in my face that it's not.
Yeah.
So that's Pain and Gain. If you weren't excited to see it, you probably won't like it. If maybe you felt the trailer was interesting, it might be a film for you. But overall, I'd say it's definitely a wait and see.
Wait and see. So it's that time of the episode where we like to give our thanks. Chad, what are you thankful for today?
This is something really geeky. Last week was Philadelphia Tech Week and also Science Festival or something in Philadelphia. I got a chance to go to one event on Friday, and it was really cool. It was basically just a roundtable of Philadelphia entrepreneurs and tech people, just talking about stuff that they're working on or have done. Some really interesting things, just like this one guy was talking about how they've developed this software that can track brands from Instagram or from Pinterest, pinning it, people purchasing them, and then reposting about it on Instagram. This whole like cycle about how people choose on Pinterest and Instagrams for like sharing it post purchase, and I just thought that was really, really cool. Another person talking about their e-commerce platform, how they were surprised that they added this feature to filter by Facebook likes, and that's become the most popular way to shop for it. So it just really shows like how social's kind of infiltrating e-commerce, and I thought it was really cool. I didn't get a chance to go to the science festival events, but they had some really cool stuff like at the Franklin Institute and whatnot. So
That's cool.
Not something you can check out now that it's over, but check in your
year.
local
It's a
area.
yearly thing.
Yeah, check
Yeah.
in your area. Maybe they have some like science things. I mean, it brings you back to elementary school, and science was cool. You know? It's
Yeah.
still cool though.
Bill Nye, it will
Exactly.
always be great. Yeah, I'm going to thank a game that we previously have reviewed, Tomb Raider. I think that Tomb Raider kind of got lost in the shuffle. BioShock Infinite came out, and definitely got a ton of praise. Some complaints about the story, things like that. But I think Tomb Raider and its awesome gameplay and just tremendous story got lost in the shuffle. When we reviewed it before, I was actually, I hit this huge cinematic part, thought was the end. It wasn't. So I actually borrowed the game from a friend, and I'm really excited to finish it, and that doesn't happen often with a single player game. So check out our earlier review of Tomb Raider, and if you haven't played it yet, definitely get it from Redbox, try it. I think it's great. I think the gameplay is awesome, the pacing's great, the storyline's good, so definitely check that out. So I'm excited to actually finish the game.
Yeah, awesome. So make sure you come back Thursday. We're going to talk about some Amazon Prime pilots, believe it or not. So check back for that, but thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you next time.